Okay, as a follow-up to the video I made yesterday, I don't know if this is going to help anybody, but maybe it will. I'm going to make a follow-up video on what I call minimalist scoping for the Perico heights. Now, there are probably much better videos out there that deal with scoping, especially if you want all the details. And I certainly can put, I can put a lot of the other things that I'm not going to bother scoping in the video, just so that you know where they are. But there are like thousands, I'm sure, well, at least hundreds of videos dealing with the scoping of the Cayo Perico heist, which is the initial part. When I first started this heist, I thought it was the most boring shit ever. But actually, I kind of like it now. There are a couple of tricks. Oh, by the way, just so you know, I learned this trick from a guy named Nog on the GTA forums, gtaforums.com. To attribute it properly, I'm going to put it in the text section where the video actually came from. But this guy Nog, he came up with this technique, and what he suggests is that you make sure you're a CEO, by the way, not a MC club. All right, you call your assistant when you right when you're passing the docks. If you look, I'm rotating the camera a little bit. Right when you're passing the docks, and you leave the phone up. Okay, you're not gonna request a helicopter yet. This is a great idea, and this, if you're doing a minimalist approach like I am, this gets you past all the initial checkpoints. Now, I just want to say right here that it's actually not that hard. I thought sneaking in the Cayo Perico heist was a lot harder than it actually is when I first started. But in truth, it's not very difficult at all. I'm just doing this for the fun of it. I usually swim to my first point anyway, so I'm probably saving 3 minutes, if that. Now, one thing you should be aware of is if you take this approach, I just found this out the hard way. What I found out the hard way was that if you don't take the helicopter very quickly, it disappears. So I'm not going to scope everything at the airfield just yet. I'll just do a couple of initial scopings here. Oh shit! This is all I need to scope. To tell you the truth. This is it. This is the only thing I really need to scope. 2 cocaines, because I'm gonna be doing this heist alone, and really that's the highest payout you're gonna get. So that's lucky.
As expected, I will mark this location.
Coming in for landing. Give me some space.
Alright, so I got 2 cocaine. I'm not going to scope it here, but let me just show you real quick. If you climb up here and jump up here, or you can even use the ladder that's over here to scope up here. There's a ladder here you could use. But if you wanted to scope in here, here I have 2 caches. I'm not going to bother taking pictures because I'm not going to take it. Don't matter. And by the way, just so you know, those scoping points will still be there when you do your heist. Even if you don't actually scope them. When I come back, because I don't want to lose the helicopter, the last time I did this, I guess I took a little bit too much time in here. So I'll finish my scoping at the airfield when I come back. Here's what I want to show you. I'm going to actually have her bring me, let's see, exactly here. There's 3 cutting powder locations. There's one here. I'll get to them. I'll go to all of them. There's one here. I mentioned these in my other video. And then there's also one here. But where I'm going to have her take me is the furthest point, because it's easier to wind my way back this way than it is to, you know. So
Make yourself comfortable. We'll try and make it as smooth a flight as possible.
now again,
Glass or something.
it's important here to remember that if you're going to use this trick, if you wait too long, as I said, she'll get impatient and she'll say, "Oh, I have to go," or something like that, and then you lose the $5,000 and you also lose the helicopter. So if you're going to scope this, you know, a bunch of shit at the airfield, you might want to consider waiting until you get back later on.
kind of makes sense up here.
Well, what's cool is I don't have to worry about security cameras or guards, as long as when I jump, I make sure that there's no guards where I'm... Obviously, you got to make sure there's no guards where you're jumping.
And here we are.
Whoops. Alright, I opened my parachute a little late, but that dumb. Alright, so here's your first cutting powder location. Even if it's here, I'm still gonna go to all three locations. Okay, of course, now usually, my luck, it's usually the third place I look, but that's the cutting powder. You want to get that. So, this is the first location. Always remember there's... Oh, look at this. Not that it matters. You could... I'm not gonna cut... There's no way in hell I come here and get this grappling hook, but it figures it's here. Also, another thing to remember too, there's a few other things here. There's, I mean, if you care, there's a bolt cutter somewhere. By the way, I don't know if you know this or not. Probably you do, but the bolt cutters are not necessary if you have the, if you do the prep with the plasma torch, which I always do. I don't bother with the, what is it, concussion grenades or something. The second location, anyway, is here. This is actually very close. Now, I'm not gonna. This video is going to take a little longer than it normally would because I'm actually explaining stuff. I hate those YouTube videos where they just quickly show a point and get away from it. You got to try and find the right place to pause. But I'm not going to take the road, obviously. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go where there's, through this where there's no guards. So you notice that this path that I'm taking, there's almost, whoop, except for this guy here coming up at me. Notice that there's almost no risk of getting caught if you're staying away from the roads. Usually I walk, but, since that bike was conveniently located right there. Now, obviously the cutting powder's not going to be here, but I'll show you where it would be. If it was here. Okay, see this? You walk in this. I guess they're making cocaine. They're probably making cocaine or whatever they're doing here. And it would be right here by these garbage bags and the garbage pail. Okay, so it would be see where that little pizza box or something. It would be right in that corner, right? And it's very obvious. It's the brightest thing you're going to see on the map. So that's where it would be. So just remember, this is the. So here's your first location, right where that grappling hook is, and I showed you where it is. Here is the second location, where I am now. Remember, if you got these three shacks here, it's the shack right there. I hope I don't get seen now. That would suck. Alright. This is the problem with concentrating on making a video. You're not really concentrating on... Where the hell did I leave my bike? Alright. Ah, there it is. And let me just hide here while this guard passes. It's probably overkill. I don't think I really need to, but in the meantime... Now let me put it on the second location. Okay, the third location. Okay? This is... See this? Okay, this is the water tower here, by the way. I'll show you that on the map. Okay? And this is the third location for the cutting powder. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off on going to the third location for the cutting powder, because since I'm right here anyway, it's actually easier for me to make my way to the communication tower where I can scope, I can, well, hold on. There we go. Okay, cool. So now you notice I'm staying off. Once I got to that original scoping pad, this is my ritual, by the way. Of course, I go a lot quicker when I'm not making a video, but this is my ritual here. Okay, this is and you notice there's almost no danger of getting caught the way I'm doing it, because I'm not going past places that actually have a lot of guards. Uh-oh, except for this thing. Alright. I want to make sure that guard doesn't turn around. Now, there's a few places where the electric thing can be. It's obviously not down here. You got to check every level because it could be in like 3 or 4 different levels. So you go up here. I mean, you already know. I'm explaining to you. Anybody who needs to know where the electronic terminal is in the communication tower is probably a lot less advanced than they need to be to do the heist anyway. So. I will say Rockstar Rockstar did an amazing job on this on Cayo Perico Island. It's really beautiful. And I like the fact that all the way up here is where the where they put the comm panel, or rather where you can potentially go to get it. Sometimes it's way on the bottom, but I like when it's up here. For whoops, it's not. Okay, I must have just passed it. All right. How the hell did I miss it? All right, that's what I get for concentrate on making a video. Whoop. All right, where the hell? Oh, Jesus Christ. Did I really miss this? I stared right at it. Alright, well. Talk about brain dead. Alright, these are actually pretty easy. Just so you know, the X is 10, in case you don't know, the X is 10 times. And they usually have one with a straight line, vertical line, it's 1 time. And then that middle piece that looks like a double X is 2 times. So, I mean, you could do it in your head. You can calculate it. They wanted me to get up to 126. So clearly, it's got to be... That'll get me to 80 because that's 8 times 10. This will get me to 120 because that's 10 times 4. I'm obviously taking my time to illustrate this. And this one will be times 2, so it's 3 times 2 is 126, and that'll get me there. Alright, it's simple arithmetic. Just remember X is times 10. That double X thingy, whatever the hell is times 2. And the one... Alright.
Let us do some window shopping, yes?
Well, I can't believe I missed that tower the first time. Unless it wasn't there. Unless I just didn't miss it. All right, well, we'll see. I'm gonna now. Why am I going up to the top again? I'll show you. I'll show you real quick. Because I want to show off the view. No, not really. Part of my ritual when I've already gotten the cutting powder at this point in my scoping, okay, is to save time. And again, this video is going to be a lot longer. I could usually get this done in a few minutes, but I'm not busy explaining everything and pausing the map and doing all that shit, so let's I'll tell you, Rockstar is one hell of a talented development company. I may not agree with every decision they make in this game, man, but from pure technical standpoint, these guys are second to none. Alright, now, where am I going? Okay, so there, if you look straight up there, I'll use the camera. I'm not going to take a picture of it, but that's the water tower. So it's basically northwest of here. Now, part of my, I'm not even going to bother scoping just yet. All right, so if you wanted to see it visually on the map, it's there. All right. Now, sometimes Oh shit, I forgot. Oh, crap. Alright, my bad. I didn't have a parachute. Usually what I do is I parachute from the top of the comm tower to the top of the water tower. But I can't do that because, well, you know. That was just stupid. And I actually warned people about this in the forum. I warned it in response to that guy Nog I was telling you about. And that is that you can't, well, you know what, I might as well scope a couple of things here since I'm kind of Now, not that I care about it, but what I'll usually do is I'll look. There's usually a supply truck here. Not usually. I'm sorry. It's one of the places that it possibly can spawn. But I find that it almost never is here. If you want to get the guard outfits, sometimes they spawn here, right? And the only time I really care about the guard outfits is in one situation only. If the supply truck and the guard outfits both spawn right here, then I'll get both of them and just drive in. I won't bother taking the long fin boat. And sometimes there's a what do you call it? There's a guard uniform here. A couple of things before I go grab the I can't believe I forgot that the reason that I couldn't open my parachute is because I didn't have one. Once you parachute out of there's another grappling hook there if you want it. It's on top of, it's right next to a big, what looks like a dumpster and a container. There's also a grappling hook here on top of the ledge. And sometimes there's a grappling hook there on top of the ledge and like on top of some toolboxes. And then if you go here, there's one behind a little abandoned boat. There's also one in this area here, inside of a little boat. And there's another guard uniform here. Again, if you care about scoping these things. But I'm going with a minimalist approach, so, you know, you're probably not going to want to. Also, another thing, too, not that it matters, I'm not going to bother scoping them, but unless I go in with other people, there's all kinds of stuff. So there's weed and more coke here. Oh, wow. Wow, this wouldn't be a bad heist to go in with a few other people. Cash is I think the lowest of what you of the payouts for these heists.
Noting location.
Oh, and by the way, there's also, if you care about it, I mean, if you're not, for whatever reason you don't get the plasma cutter, there's also a bolt cutter here on top of sometimes on top of a white, I think it's a white carton or something. All right. I mentioned this in the video the other yesterday. Whoops, can't go this way. I'm not 100% sure you have to actually scope this point, but I do anyway. All right, so that is.
Yes, of course. Solar farm keeps Mr. Rubio off the grid and maintains his credentials as friend of the environment. Not much we can do to it here.
When you come in later on to your heist, you can just, all you do is hit 2 buttons, and you'll be able to, what do you call it? You'll be able to shut the power off to the island, at least for the lights. It doesn't matter as much if you're coming in the dark. Oh, and by the way, not that it matters, but there's another, what do you call it here? Grappling hook. Forgot to mention this one. For some reason, they put a lot of grappling hooks. Now, unfortunately, because I screwed up, and forgot that. Just remember, if you, it's not like you're in Los Santos or Blaine County. If you use your parachute on this island when you parachute from the helicopter, then you don't get the parachute again. All right, you only get one of them. I guess that's the rationale, is you only come equipped with one parachute. But usually what I'll do when I'm playing this game is I'll parachute from the top of the comm tower to the top of the water tower to make things a lot easier. So I could usually get the scoping done in 5 to 10 minutes. But obviously this is a little longer. But still, even though I screwed up, I want to thank Nog for posting that on the forum. I think I mentioned it before. In the text part of my YouTube video, I'm going to give a link to the video that, for two videos. I'm going to give a link to one video that actually shows the cutting powder locations. Well, actually, I don't need to because this is I pretty much showed it. But I am gonna give a link to the person that I saw this video posted, the person who posted this video, because I want to attribute it properly. I don't want to be plagiarizing other people's content. So even though Nog posted the video, I'm not 100% sure whether he made it or not. So I'm going to link to the video showing how to use the executive assistant to get to get the helicopter. And just be aware, it costs $5,000 if you care. There's the water tower ahead. If you can look where I'm heading, this is a pretty risk-free path. And I'm going to show you while I'm here. I'm going to show you the third cutting powder location, as I promised, which is right here. Right at the... and this one is different. This one's actually on the outside of the building. Now you'll notice when you swim... That's actually... I'm kind of glad that I screwed up because this is a good illustration. You notice that this is a risk-free... If you're not scoping secondary loot... See, here's a cool thing. See, there's a lot of secondary loot in this area. Even here. There's a bunch of secondary loot in here, and there's a bunch of secondary loot in here. Okay, here's the thing. The areas that have the most guards are the areas that have the secondary loot in them, and the areas that have other tools. But if you look here, hold on. Here we go. Usually the cutting powder. What is? I don't want to get seen by this guard, so I'll hang here for a second. But this is where the cutting powder usually is. It's right by these barrels. Let's see. I think I can make this. All right, that guy's not going to see me. It's usually right here, right on top of one, either on top of that box or yeah, it's pretty sure it's on top of that lower box. This is where the third location of the cutting powder is. So if you remember, you got one here, where the grappling hook is. You've got one here in this second shack, which is where I went to before. And then you've got one here. Now from here, I'm just going to go to the water tower, and this should be a pretty safe path. When you have the cutting powder, you want to go to the top of the water tower. And a lot of people, I guess if you're really good at stealth and you're not worried about activating the guards or being spotted, then by all means, you skip the cutting powder. I'm not. I'm about 50-50 with the stealth. If I'm really careful, I can get through the heist without getting spotted, but I'm I lose concentration or whatever, so I always get the cutting powder because it's an easy thing. You press right on the D-pad, by the way. It's a very easy thing to just fight your way out if the guards can't shoot straight, especially with some of the other. If you tend to get spotted. Now this time I'm going to kill myself on purpose. Okay, why? Because well, actually, look. And he's right about that. It's very so I'm gonna I'll kill myself here and doink. It's right on. It's better than taking the time and energy of going to the guards. All right, so I'm back here. There's really nothing left for me to scope here unless I wanted to demonstrate some of the other scoping points, which I don't. But I will use the Sightseer app while I'm here. Alright, so I usually go forward, which is right on the D-pad, and the vault isn't for until you get to the third screen, if you're going, left to right. Fourth screen, I'm sorry. Okay. Now, you're gonna... Let's see, I think it's gonna be bearer bonds, probably, because it's...
there, in the safe.
Yep.
Looks like bearer bonds.
Cool.
Untraceable cash must be useful for men like Mr.
Now,
Rubio. And even more useful for
you
those
don't.
robbing
I
him,
don't
huh?
personally use everything,
I see.
but I
I'll
always
leave a
scope.
note on the planning board.
I always scope everything in here, and I'll tell you why. Because I have a lot of friends on
Remember, you are not a
PSN,
pack mule. There is only so much you can carry. You
and
will
always
not
scope left to
make
right, because
friends.
sometimes there's a picture there too. All right, and sometimes there's loot on that second table too. The reason I scope everything in here, even though it's a bit of a time waster. Oh, and by the way, it took me a little while to find it. I gotta actually hold on. All right, nothing. All right, nothing in this room. The reason I scope everything is because I do have a lot of friends on PSN. And by the way, just so you know, it took me a little time in my video yesterday, but there's where the safe is. To the left of the fireplace, and it's behind that center oval picture. So there you have it. There's sometimes there's a picture there, you know, an artwork picture. All right, there was nothing in there. The reason I scope everything is if I decide to go in with some friends, you know,
I do not know if this painting is good, but I know it is expensive.
the cocaine, the cash I kind of disregard, but
Cash, good to know. I will
the
mark on the planning
cocaine
screen.
is good. Gold is really good. You can make a lot. If you can get like 3 or 4 golds,
That's on your planning screen now.
it makes it almost worth going in with more than one person. Personally, I don't think. And wow, no paintings except for that one. All right.
Adding to planning screen.
So far, this is not a good candidate heist to go in with multiple people,
Location
because it's mostly cash and a couple of one painting so far, I think. Alright, second gold. Usually my threshold is 3 or 4 golds. If I find 3 or 4 piles of gold, then I'll think about, you know, inviting a friend to come along with me. Sometimes there's a painting there. Sometimes there's loot on that table, on top of that ornate towel. Yeah, and then you're done. Now, there is a good reason to go through those other cameras. If you've never done the heist before, there are other things to scope besides secondary loot. Just to be clear, you can scope grappling hook points. You can scope out key cards and stuff like that. I forget everything, but if it's your first time doing the heist, you want to scope everything you can in that Sightseer app. All right, so there's no reason you guys don't need to see me go back to Los Hendos, so I'm going to end the video here. All right, if you enjoyed it, thanks for watching. And again, I'm going to attribute that trick to get the helicopter. I'm going to put that in the video link in the caption for the video, since I'm not going to bother linking it to this video. All right, have a great day, and hope you enjoyed watching.